Listen, honey, pull up a chair and pour yourself something strong, because today we are spilling the kind of tea that stains. You know, people look at me, they look at us, and they think they know what struggle is. They think because we walk with our heads high and our heels higher that we haven't dragged ourselves through the mud to get here. But I've learned one thing in this life, something that took me years of tears and rejection to understand. The people who share your blood are often the first ones to bleed you dry. They call it family. I call it a hazard. And the story I'm about to tell you? Oh, it's going to make your blood boil. But baby, the ending is sweeter than revenge served cold. It's served frozen. Let me introduce you to a woman named Clara. Now, Clara was the kind of woman who kept the world spinning but never got credit for the gravity. You know the type? The one who remembers every birthday, the one who stays late at the hospital, the one who fixes the messes the golden children make. Clara was 42, single, and had spent the last decade of her life caring for her mother, a woman named Patricia who had a heart of stone and a tongue like a razor blade. And then there was the brother. Oh, don't get me started on the brother. His name was David. David was the kind of man who peaked in high school and had been riding on pure entitlement ever since. You know the type, sweetie. The kind who borrows money and calls it an investment. The kind who shows up for Sunday dinner just to eat and leaves before the dishes need washing. For 10 years, Clara ran the family business. It was a boutique landscaping company that their late father had built. Dad was a good man, but he had a blind spot the size of Texas when it came to his son. When Dad passed, the business was in debt. Who stepped up? Clara. David was too busy finding himself in Vegas or Miami or wherever mediocre men go to waste money. Clara took that business from the red into the black. She was out there in the heat, managing crews, handling the books, negotiating contracts. She built that company into a local empire. Patricia, the mother, sat in her paid-off house, collecting the checks Clara signed, and never once, not once, said, "Thank you." Instead, all Clara heard was, "When is David coming home?" David would know how to expand. David has such vision. Vision? Honey, the only vision David had was seeing how much he could get for doing absolutely nothing. The trouble started when Patricia got sick. I mean really sick. And who was there? Clara. Changing the sheets, cooking the meals, driving to appointments. David? He called once a week. Maybe. And usually, it was to ask if Mom had signed some check he needed. But Clara, bless her heart, she kept believing in that old lie we are all fed. Family is everything. She thought if she just worked hard enough, if she just loved them enough, they would finally see her. Oh, honey, if you are listening to me right now and you are breaking your back for people who won't even stand up for you, stop. Just stop. They don't love you. They love what you do for them. There is a difference. The turning point came on a Tuesday. I remember the details because Clara wrote to me and said the sky was that perfect, mocking shade of blue when her world fell apart. Patricia passed away in her sleep. It was peaceful for her, but it was the start of a war for Clara. The funeral was grand. David showed up in a rented suit, crying the loudest tears you ever saw. He played the grieving son perfectly, shaking hands, accepting condolences, acting like he had been by her bedside every night. Clara stood in the back, exhausted, eyes dry because she had already cried all her tears while her mother was alive. 2 days after the funeral, the lawyer called them in for the reading of the will. Now, Clara wasn't expecting a fortune. She just wanted the business. It was her baby. She had built it. She was the face, the brain, and the backbone of Greenleaf Landscapes. She assumed, logically, that the house would go to David since he was always crying about rent, and the business would be hers. Logical, right? But since when is toxicity logical? The lawyer, a stiff man who couldn't look Clara in the eye, cleared his throat and read the final wishes of Patricia. To my daughter Clara, I leave the family home and its contents. Okay, not bad. A house is a house. But wait for it. To my beloved son David, I leave the ownership of Greenleaf Landscapes, all company assets, accounts, and future profits, as he is the man of the family and best suited to carry on the name. The room went silent. The air left Clara's lungs. She looked at David and you know what she saw? She didn't see shock. She saw a smirk. A little, tiny, self-satisfied smirk. He knew. He had been working on Mom those last few months during his brief phone calls. He had poisoned the well. The man of the family. The audacity. I have met stray cats with more masculinity and integrity than David, but patriarchy protects its own, doesn't it? Clara stood up. Her hands were shaking. She said, David doesn't know a fern from a ficus. He doesn't know the clients. He doesn't know the payroll. This is a mistake. And David, sitting there with his legs crossed, looked at her and said, Relax, sis. You can still work for me. I'll keep you on as a manager. But things are going to change. We need to modernize. You've been playing it too safe. Work for him? Work for the man who hadn't lifted a finger in a decade? Clara looked at the lawyer, but he just shrugged. It's legal, Clara. Your mother was of sound mind. Sound mind? Honey, hatred is a form of madness, and that woman hated that her daughter was stronger than her son. Clara went home to the house she had inherited. It was old, it needed repairs, and it was filled with the ghost of a woman who never appreciated her. She spent 3 days in bed. I know that feeling. I know what it's like when the world tells you that you don't matter, that your identity, your hard work, your soul is worth less than someone else's privilege. It crushes you. You look in the mirror and you wonder, what is wrong with me? But let me tell you what I told Clara. There is nothing wrong with you, baby. You are just casting pearls before swine, and the swine are getting hungry. On the 4th day, David showed up at Clara's door. He didn't knock. He just walked in because he still had a key. Clara, he barked. Where are the client files? The server is locked. I need the passwords. Clara was sitting at the kitchen table, drinking coffee. She looked at him, really looked at him, and something snapped. Or maybe something healed. She realized she had 2 choices. She could bow down, give him the passwords, stay on as manager, and spend the rest of her life making him rich while he disrespected her. Or she could burn it down. Not with fire, honey. That's illegal. I'm talking about burning it down with silence. She took a sip of her coffee and said, I don't work for Greenleaf anymore, David. You're the owner. You figure it out. David laughed. Don't be dramatic. You need this job. Mom didn't leave you any cash, just this money pit of a house. You'll be crawling back in a week. Now give me the passwords. Clara stood up, walked to the door, opened it, and pointed outside. Get out. He left, screaming that he would sue her, that he would ruin her. But Clara knew something David didn't. See, David thought he inherited a business. He thought a business was just trucks, lawnmowers, and a bank account. But Clara knew that a business is relationships. A business is trust. And most importantly, Clara knew that Greenleaf Landscapes didn't actually own the most valuable asset they had. Here is the twist, and oh, it is delicious. 5 years ago, Clara had developed a specific organic fertilizer blend and a specialized irrigation technique that saved clients thousands of dollars in water bills. It was what made the company famous in the county. But because Clara was smart, and because deep down she never fully trusted her mother, she had registered the patent for the fertilizer and the trademark for the technique in her own name, not the company's. It was her intellectual property. The company just had a license to use it, a license that expired the moment she was no longer employed. So, Clara did nothing. She didn't call the clients. She didn't sabotage the trucks. She just sat in her house, started a garden, and waited. Week 1, David hired his buddies to run the cruise. They showed up late. They trampled Mrs. Higgins' prize-winning roses. They tracked mud on Dr. Evans' driveway. The phones started ringing at the office, but Clara wasn't there to smooth things over. David didn't answer complaints. He ignored them. Week 3, the supplies ran out. David tried to order the special fertilizer, but the supplier told him, Sorry, that account is under Clara Vance's name. We can't sell to you without her authorization. David tried to buy a generic version. It killed the grass at the country club. The country club. Honey, you do not mess with rich people's grass. They will end you. Week 6, the lawsuit started coming. Breach of contract. Property damage. David was bleeding money. He was posting on Facebook, blaming disgruntled former employees for sabotage. He tried to sue Clara for the passwords, But the judge threw it out because, get this, David had fired her technically when he tried to change her contract. He had no leg to stand on. Meanwhile, Clara wasn't just sitting around. She sold the house. Yes, the beloved family home. She sold it to a developer who wanted to tear it down and build condos. She took that cash, a nice, healthy sum, and she bought a small cottage with a massive plot of land on the edge of town. And she started a new LLC. She didn't call it landscaping. She called it Clara's Botanicals. She focused on high-end garden design and her special fertilizer products. 3 months in, David showed up at her new gate. He looked terrible. He looked like a man who had been chewed up by reality. The leased BMW was gone. He was driving the old work truck. He stood at the gate, because she had an electric gate now. Honey, we love boundaries. And he begged. Clara, please. I'm drowning. The tax board is auditing me. The clients are leaving. Just come back. I'll give you 20%. Okay, 30%. Clara walked down the driveway. She looked at him through the bars. She didn't feel anger anymore. She didn't feel sadness. She looked at this man who had smirked at her while he stole her legacy, this man who thought his gender and his bloodline made him a king. She said, David, you wanted to be the man of the family. You wanted the name. You have it. I'm not a landscaper anymore. I'm a creator. And I don't partner with sinking ships. But we're family, he screamed. Mom wanted this for me. And Mom got what she wanted, Clara said, her voice ice cold. She gave you everything she thought you deserved. And now, life is giving you exactly what you have earned. She turned around and walked back up her driveway. She didn't look back. Greenleaf Landscapes filed for bankruptcy 2 months later. The assets were sold off to pay the debts. David had to move into a crappy apartment and get a job working retail. And the best part? The developer who bought the mom's house? He hired Clara to design the gardens for the new condo complex. She literally built her new success on the ruins of the old abuse. Now, why am I telling you this? Why does this matter to us? Because, my loves, the world is full of Davids and Patricias. The world is full of people who will look at you, whether you are trans, queer, poor, or just different, and they will think they can take what is yours. They think because they fit the mold, they deserve the gold. But Clara taught us the most important lesson. Your power isn't in what they give you. It's in what you keep for yourself. It's in your talent, your resilience, your special recipe that they can't copy. When my own family turned their backs on me because I decided to live my truth, because I decided that being a happy woman was better than being a miserable son, I thought I had lost everything. I thought I was bankrupt. But just like Clara, I realized I had the intellectual property of myself. I had my sass, I had my style, and I had my strength. And let me tell you, when you build a house with the bricks they threw at you, that house stands forever. So, if you are in a situation right now where you are the Clara, where you are doing the work and they are taking the credit, start making your exit plan. Secure your passwords. Trademark your magic. And when the time comes, don't be afraid to let them fail. It is not your job to keep warm people who only embrace you when they are cold. Family isn't blood, honey. Family is respect. Family is the people who cheer when you win, not the ones who try to steal the trophy. David is still out there, blaming the economy, blaming Clara, blaming the world. But Clara? She's blooming. And so am I. And so can you. Don't let them tell you that you are secondary in your own life. You are the main character. You are the CEO. And if they don't like it, well, they can get off your property. Now, wipe those tears, fix your crown, and go show them who you really are. And remember, the best revenge isn't nasty, it's successful. Until next time, stay fierce.